like friend requests a day. And if I accept 20, like at least 10 of them are writing to me and they're like, hey, how are you doing? Want to be in my group? And I'm like, ignore. But they're always pushing all the other messages down.
Hello, my love. Welcome back to Arouse for another episode. And if you're new around here, welcome. My name is Sam. I am your host and personal life coach. Today's episode is with Luddy, and we are talking all the things creating healthy boundaries within your business. So let's dive into all the tea. Warning, the following presentation is intended for mature audiences. It includes stigma topics like sex, addictions, mental illness, adult dialogue, and strong language. Viewer discretion is advised. So excited to talk to the beautiful, amazing, brilliant Luddy because, I love everything that you do. And I'm like so excited for this conversation. She's going to be talking everything boundaries with us today in the Confident Summit. So Luddy, if you could just share with the women a little bit more about yourself, and then we'll get right into everything.
Cool beans. Thank you. Thank you for having me. I can't see on my end who's on live. So hi. So I'm Luddy. I am a graphic designer for female entrepreneurs, and I focus on branding and branded products. So I'm super excited to be here and talking more about, I guess, like confidence and boundaries in business, but also in life, because I do have, those two experiences. But yeah, that's kind of it.
Yeah, so I'm so excited to talk everything boundaries. Obviously, I have written an ebook on like creating healthy boundaries in like relationships. But what like really drew me to ask you to be a part of the summit is like some posts that you made on Facebook about making boundaries in your business. And I'm like, I love that. Obviously, I'm a relationship and sex expert. So I'm like, yes, like making boundaries in the bedroom in your relationship. But for you to share those like in your business online, I was like, yes, queen, you can like add something different to the summit to all these women's lives that are listening and watching this. So I'm so excited for you to share like why you think and believe it's important for women to build their confidence.
Ooh, that is huge, especially when it comes to business. I guess I'll focus a little bit more on business because that's kind of my realm, but I can obviously relate it back to like the self. But I'm all about confidence. Prior to being a graphic designer, I was like the confidence queen and did like this whole summer of self-love for like the past 3 years when I was coaching, which is not a thing anymore purposefully. But confidence is huge, especially when it comes to business, just because if you are not confident in yourself, you are not doing the things that you need to do to get yourself out there to have a successful business. So if I feel bad about myself, I am not going to get on camera. I'm not going to be speaking to people face to face. I'm not going to be pushing myself to do those kinds of activities that are going to push me forward in my business. So that could mean going to a networking event, or even if it's something as simple as coming on like live on Facebook. I know a lot of women who just like terrified to go on Facebook or terrified to like speak about how amazing they are and what they do and how good they're at it. They're like, oh, but I feel like I'm bragging. And I'm like, no, like you need to tell people how amazing you are, because people don't know. Like everybody thinks that Facebook is like everybody sees everything. And no, like that's not how the algorithm works. No one's seeing your stuff. Like maybe like a tiny fraction of people are actually seeing your amazing thing. So it's like shout your stuff from the roof and people will see. When you're confident in yourself, people will be more confident in you and your work. They know that if you are loving it and you know that you're doing a good thing, they're like, I can trust you. And that brings in more business, and which ups your confidence. So it kind of just like feeds into each other.
Of course. I love that you touched on the fact that, you know what, like whatever makes you feel confident in your business, you're going to do. And people that are like your ideal client are going to resonate with that, because I've seen women that like, they never go live on Facebook or Instagram and they have a thriving business. And then other women, they go live like all the time on all the platforms. And then they also have lots of business with clients. So it's like whatever you feel confident in doing for your business is going to serve you, and then it's going to attract in like your ideal client because they're going to resonate with what you do. And so since we're talking all things confidence, what is the most confident thing that you've ever done?
I think the most confident thing I've ever done is probably start a business. It takes balls to start your own business, to be an entrepreneur. It's not easy. And as you know, as many of the women are in your group that are entrepreneurs, we know it is hard. And there are many days where it's just like, it's like crash and burn. for like 5 days, and then like 2 days, you're like, I'm killing it. And then not anymore. So I think like the most confident thing is just even starting a business, even having the balls to start a business and like say, I'm going to continue to put myself out there. I'm going to continue to fail forward. I'm going to do this, even though I know it might not bring money in right now. I think that might have been like my most like thing where I'm like, yeah, I'm just going to keep going. I'm going to keep putting myself out there. I'm going to keep being myself. I'm going to keep being confident about what I do, even if there are moments where I second guess myself or I don't get any sales that week. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm doing things. Like continuing to do it, even when you're scared, even when you're failing, even when you don't think it's going to happen. That.
Yes, I love it. Like just still persevering through everything and still like knowing inside of you, like, this is what I meant to do. Like things not like might not be so great right now, but like, you know what? I'm still going to push through. I'm still going to persevere through this because this is important to me. And I know I'm good at it. And I know I can like, you know, make money and like make an impact in this world and like whatever that is for that woman. I love that. So what do healthy boundaries look like inside of your business?
Oh. I think there's a lot of moving pieces to it. I think one of the pieces is knowing where you stop and being able to say no to people, especially being a graphic designer. My work it hinges on my clients being happy. So if I do something and they're not happy with it, that's a terrible Facebook review waiting to happen. And when I first started, I know that it was tough because I'm like, I'm just going to fix everything that they want, all of it, like just because I know that like I want some good reviews. I want good reviews. So like I was overworking myself and doing tons of edits, even though like I shouldn't have. I was severely undercharging for my work. I think my first workbook I ever even sold was $75, and workbooks take weeks to make. So it's crazy. When it comes to business, you have to be able to say no. Like I'm not going to do that. And be okay with it and be okay with the fact that people might not like it. And being able to say, and even not just being able to say no because you don't want to or you can't, but then also knowing that it's something you can do and you just don't want to. And like being able to say no to that too. Like, oh, do you do websites? And I'm like, I can do my websites. That's about it. Like I'm not good at any of that stuff. I am a graphic designer. So like being able to say no and like saying my friend does this. I know an amazing girl that does this. So also like respecting those boundaries within yourself, not doing things that you don't want to do. What else? Work hours. People are like, I have my own business, so I'm going to grind and I'm going to work and I'm going to do all this. And I'm like, that's great if you want to do that. But at the same time, like we are in this moment where it's like hustle, 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 do this, do that, my side hustle, this and hustle is such a word. And it's like, are you telling me that I'm not going to sleep for the next 30 years because I want like a successful business? That's not going to happen. So definitely having those boundaries for yourself too, like having that time for you to come back into yourself, having that time for yourself, having hours, setting hours that are like, okay, I'm working. And this was so hard for me because I'm a mom. I have 2 kids. They're 6, they're 7 and 8. They're in school. They come in and out. Like there are so many times where I'm trying to get work done and I can't. So like sometimes I'm like, all right, I'm going to be working into like, right now it's 8 o'clock on my end of the world. So I usually at 7 o'clock, I close up shop. I'm like, there's nothing happening past 7 o'clock. Like I need to get my kids in the shower. I need to get to bed. I need to make them dinner. So respecting those boundaries for myself too, saying like, after 7 o'clock, there is no work whatsoever. If you reach out to me after 7 o'clock, you're not getting responded to until the next day when I'm awake, not like in the morning when I open my eyes and I'm like, oh my God, somebody wrote to me yesterday. I'm going to respond to them at 6 o'clock in the morning. No, you're going to get my work hours. And that was really hard for me to stick to because I'm like, I know I have to get this done. I have to get this done. This person needs this now. And if I don't do it now, I'd like everybody's gonna hate me, and just no. It's like come back into it. It's like have some set work hours, do your thing, and respect your own boundaries too.
Yes, of course. To like, I can totally relate to the part where it's like, say no to the things that like you don't do, you don't want to do, or things that just like don't serve you, whether it's in your life, in your business, your career, whatever it is. Because like, why would you say yes to something that you don't like to do? That immediately is just like, yeah, like that doesn't make sense. Your girlfriend is like, oh, I said yes to this, even though I don't want to. And you would immediately jump on her and be like, girl, what are you doing?
Yeah.
But when we do it to ourselves, we're like, oh, it's okay though, because I don't want to say no. And it's like, girl, as much as we have that motherly instinct, whether you have kids or not, like you need to stop spreading yourself so thin, find out what you don't like, and have the courage and the confidence to say no.
Yes. Yes. And it's tough. I know at first, like when you're just starting out your business, like even like, as a coach, like when you first started out, I'm not sure if you just knew like, this is what I'm going to do for like my coaching business. But I know like when I was coaching, I jumped around to like 4 different things. And I'm like, I wanted to do this. I wanted to do that. I wanted to help with that. I wanted to help with this. So it's like also knowing like I completely lost my train of thought. I don't even remember what I was going to say. Go to your next question. Oh, mom brain 7 years later.
It's okay. I know so many like moms are going to be, whether they're watching this in the summit or they're going to be listening to this later on, like they're going to relate to you, because there's going to be moms in here that have kids and they're like, oh, that mom brain or the pregnancy brain. Cause I've heard of that as well. And I'm like, part of me is excited because I'm like, oh my God, like all these women are doing this. It's like, what is that like? I'm so excited to experience that for myself in the future.
It is something else. I'll tell you. It's funny. At least something humorous.
And I also love that you shared that you're like, after 7:00 my time, it's like, nope, you will not get a response until like I am ready in the morning. I am in a good mindset. I've done like my morning routine or whatever your morning looks like. And then I'm going to respond to you. I need to be in a good energy, and like I need present with my children. I need to make sure that they're fed, going to bed, like spend quality time with them. And then in the morning, once I'm ready, yes, then I'll respond to you. Just like any regular business, when you message them on Facebook, you're going to get a response within like their work hours, their operating hours. And it's the same thing.
Exactly. I know I used to be so scared of like not responding right away. And then what was happening was I was always on my phone because I didn't want to miss a sale and I didn't want to accidentally ignore someone. And I have gone like days without responding to someone accidentally. Like I just did it like 2 days ago. Like someone was like, I want to be part of your membership. And I was like, okay, cool. I'll write to you. And I don't think I responded, and it's been like 5 days. And honestly, like instead of being like this, like shaking in my boots, oh my God, everyone's going to hate me. It's like, I'm a human and I make mistakes, and I need to give myself grace because it's life. Like people get busy, and people also need to respect other people's boundaries. So it's like not even just me respecting my own boundaries, but making sure that other people are also seeing where that boundary is set and then respecting that, because like that's how you set it. Like if you from the get-go you're working with me and I'm like, listen, I tell all my clients, I'm like, you will most likely not get a response from me after 7:00. Very rare. I don't work weekends and I don't work Mondays because Monday is just like, I don't know if you saw that video I put on Facebook. I'm like Monday, and it's just like, no, me and Mondays, we're not friends no matter what. I'm like, I'm not working in a 9 to 5, but me and Mondays aren't friends. So it's like, as long as it's a day, an hour where I'm available, I'll respond. On the weekends, you're not getting a response from me. Very rare unless I'm acting. So when you set that boundary with your clients, they will respect that unless they're like an awful client, which means you don't want them anyway.
Yes, exactly. And like, we're all human. We all make mistakes. We all forget to respond back. I mean, even with like my boyfriend, he will like message me and then I'll read it and think I responded and I telepathically did. And then hours later, I'm like, oh shit, I didn't respond to you. He's like, it's okay. I do it too. So like we understand that we're human. And even within your own business, like you're busy, you're working, you're like talking to clients about their current work that you're working on. And yes, new business is important as well, but you need to also take care of your current clients.
Very much so. I think that's super important, is making sure that the people you're already working with are like, they're good. This is like, customer service is like the most important part when you have your own business, is making sure that the people you're still like, you're actually currently working with are happy. Because if you're out there like chasing the next client every 5 minutes and you're not really putting in the work and the energy for your current clients, they're not going to ever like re-sign with you. They're not going to ask you for more work. And I've been like blessed enough where a lot of my clients are a lot of repeat clients. And that's because I make sure I put the energy into creating those relationships and then nurturing those relationships, making sure that I am always attentive to them. When I am available to them, I am attentive to them and I respond to them and I voice note them, making sure that they feel like they're being taken care of. They're being seen, they're being heard, they're being understood. And then once they're finished with me, it sounds awful, but once they're finished with whatever I'm working on with them, a lot of times they'll either refer me to other people or they'll come back themselves and they'll do something else with me. And like, that means everything. That means everything to people who have small businesses like us. It's like, you're telling people about me, that's amazing. You're coming back to me, that's amazing. And that is like, those relationships, you need to nurture them while they're with you.
Yes, 100%. Like, it's referrals and like repeat business is so underrated. But I just wanted to quickly touch on the fact that we were talking about like people like wanting a response right away, because if we go back just like a few decades, people were writing letters, and like even during the wars, like in the Second World War, people were writing letters to their loved ones and they wouldn't hear back for months. But people now in this digital age we're in, I need this now, like I need a response now. And we're so impatient. It's like, girl, you would not last like during the 1940s. Like, this is insane. And like, give people space, like allow people to, give you a response when they have time, because we're all busy. Doesn't matter if you own your own business, you work a 9 to 5 or in the corporate world, like we're all busy. Or if you're a stay-at-home mom, girl, like I know lots of stay-at-home moms, and fuck, are they busy during the day?
Hell yeah, they are. Before I was a work at home mom, I was a stay at home mom. Everybody, like, there's so many things that we all do during the day, and time of like instant gratification. Everyone's like, I want an answer now. And I think that like most of like the 90s and 80s kids, we get it. But like after that, they're like, I can't believe this person made me wait 3 hours to like respond to me about like this one thing that I want. And it's like, dude, like I had to dial up to get into the internet. You do not know what it means to be impatient. Like,
right?
So easy.
Or when you had to make sure that no one was on the phone, like on the telephone, because they used to be plugged into the wall, and you used to have a cord connected to your phone, and you couldn't be on the phone while on the internet. I remember that as a very, very young child. And like my mom would be like, get off the phone, I'm trying to use the internet.
Yep. Oh my Jesus. Yep. I remember those days. Definitely different from the time, like you said, the digital age where we're in now. And I've seen so many, like, I have a lot of entrepreneurs on my Facebook. So I'll see people who are like screenshotting conversations that they have, and there are these people who are asking them about like their products, and then they didn't answer within like 2 or 3 hours, and then they're just, fuck you, how, like, why aren't you responding to me? You just lost a customer. And it's like, what the hell? Like, can you give her a moment to like actually put her words together to respond to you before getting angry? That's so weird. Like, I don't know, some people are weird, and those aren't the clients that you want.
Exactly. And I know like even like coaches that I've like collaborated with, or just like other people in the online space that I've tried to connect with, and like our Messenger and our Facebook is now like disconnected. I remember a time when they were together on the same app before they separated it, and it was so much easier. But now there's times where I forget to check my Facebook messages, or people I'm trying to connect with do. And then I'm like, oh, right, I can comment like on their Facebook and be like, hey, I sent you a message, like whenever you can have a look at it. And they're like, oh my gosh, I forgot to check it today. And I'm like, totally understandable. Like, I just would love to talk to you about this. But like, that's the thing, is like, we have all these stupid apps, and they're like, oh my gosh, like I don't check all of them every single day.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, yes. And just the amount of messages that come in one day, like as soon as I press accept on like a friend request, it's like, hey, how are you doing? Want to be part of my group? You want to buy this? And I'm like, what? So then it just like pushes everybody else down. Like I think I get like 50 like friend requests a day. And if I accept 20, like at least 10 of them are writing to me and they're like, hey, how are you doing? Want to be in my group? And I'm like, ignore. But they're always pushing all the other messages down. So people have written to me like months ago that I probably still haven't seen because like you gotta scroll through all of those messages. Like it can get lost and it's tough. Like it said, like you said before, like before when it was together, it was a lot easier. You just get like a ping and you're like, okay, I got a message, I got whatever. But now it's just like like you said, there's so many different apps and so many different places that people want to meet on or speak on. And it can be a lot.
And so what kind of advice or encouragement would you give to someone struggling to stay committed to their boundaries, like in their business?
What would I say? I don't think anything that I would say is like, it's not like this great, oh my goodness, like, wisdom drop. Honestly, just stick to it. Like, just do it. Figure out what feels good to you and do that. Just because someone else is doing it doesn't mean that you have to do it. Just because they're writing to you doesn't mean you have to respond. So whatever feels good to you, if the way that I set my business up, it feels good to me. Beforehand, it wasn't like that. It was overwhelming and scary and frustrating. And that was awful. So if you want to have a successful business that you love, not that you're just working and like you're anxious about it, or people write to you and you're like, oh my God, why are they writing to me at 9 o'clock in the night? It's like, just set those boundaries, set them, figure out what feels good to you, set that, and then stick to it. Because if you don't stick to it, we're humans. We're going to poke and prod and we're going to get in our way, try to get what we need. And if you let someone push your boundaries, they're going to push them and they're going to see how far they can go. So whatever feels good to you, you do it, you stick to it. Even when it comes to friends and family, stick to it, and people will start getting it. They will start getting it and they will respect it. It's scary at first, of course, because you're like, what if I don't answer now and now this person has gone to someone else and they want to work with someone else? Then that means that they weren't for you. Like they weren't your person. They probably would have been a terrible client to begin with. Like just tell yourself anything. Just like they were going to be awful anyway. Continue to stick to your stuff, because once it's up and running and it's doing well, it's going to call in the kind of people that you want to work with, and it's going to repel people that you don't want to work with. And you want to get to that spot by, like I said, just sticking to it and keep it going. Just keep going.
Yes, ladies, you hear that? Stick to your boundaries, stay true to them. And I love, love, love that you're just like, oh, you don't have to respond. That is one thing I struggled with in my business is I'm like, oh, I have to respond to every single comment and every single message I get, whether it's through my personal profile or through my business page. And I go to a point where I was like, okay, I'm getting certain men hitting on me in my inbox and I don't want to respond because then they think I'm okay with that. And it's like, no. Or there's just people that are like trying to get free coaching out of me. And I'm like, no, like I'm not going to do this anymore.
Yeah, I remember those days. There will definitely be people who want to push those boundaries. They will, like, what do they say? Like, you give them a mile and they take I don't know, something like that. Like, you give them just a little bit and they're going to run with it. They're going to run with whatever you gave them and they're going to push those boundaries. And it's not going to be a fun experience. Like, and you're going to be upset. You're going to, like, whatever it is that you're going to feel about it, it's not going to be a positive thing because you are in yourself. You're like, this is what I want to happen. This is how I want things to go, and this person is just like, they're not listening and it doesn't feel good. So when people, if you even give them that little space to like push you, they will. So just stick to what you know and what you like and what feels good.
Yeah, and it takes like a couple tries to figure that out, especially if you're new in the game, because I remember looking back and I'm like, yeah, this me wouldn't think twice about doing. And you just kind of have to, sometimes make mistakes, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just, you have to learn like what works for you, what doesn't, what serves you. And if you see a message and it's like, I really don't want to respond, you don't have, because it's like that person probably isn't going to want to coach with me anyways. They probably don't want to pay me for my coaching. They probably just want free advice.
Yes. Anytime anyone does something, like anytime I come outside of my own boundaries to do something for someone, like 99% of the time, they never hire me. And it's the most frustrating thing. Like for me, one of my biggest boundaries is I don't do calls anymore. Like I do not hop on calls. I hate it. It doesn't work with my lifestyle. My kids are home all the time. My kids are loud. Two rambunctious boys. Anytime I'm on a call, they'll be running in, they'll be asking for questions. They say they want a snack. And it's just like, it does not work. And anytime I've ever been on a call with anyone, they do not hire me. And it's because I am out of integrity by going onto that call to begin with and spending time doing something that I know I could be spending it doing something else for my clients or for my family or for myself. And it doesn't vibe. Like if anybody is spiritual in here, it does not vibe. Like anytime I'm on a call, I know it's not going to work out because I came out of my own boundaries to be able to accommodate them, knowing that it's not something that I wanted to do to begin with. So
how can women build their confidence with setting healthy boundaries in their business and life?
How can they get confidence from setting boundaries? Getting confidence from setting boundaries. So like I said, when you set boundaries and you respect them yourself, you feel good within yourself. Like I was saying, the example where I don't like to get on calls. As soon as I finish that call, I'm not feeling good. I'm not feeling within myself. I'm not feeling like excited because I already know like that's not something that I wanted to do. And when it comes to like even like relationships, life, work, no matter what it is that you're doing, when you're telling someone like this is where you stop and this is what I feel comfortable with and people are respecting that, you feel good within yourself. You're like I am in control of me, myself, my emotions, my job, my business, whatever it is, my relationship. Not control with relationship, but you know what I mean. It's like once you feel like you're in control with what feels good to you and people are respecting that, that makes you feel good within itself. And that can up your confidence in any facet of life, I think.
Yeah. So build your confidence, set boundaries that feel good to you, because then it'll make you feel good. I love that. And so is there anything else that you would love to add to this conversation for the women listening?
Definitely when it comes to confidence, like in your business too. I know we were talking about the stuff that goes into like the bundle and stuff like that. Like when it comes to confidence, having clarity in your business, like it's huge. I know there's this whole like you need to niche. I don't know how to say that word, but you need to niche down and you need to find this. You need to like hyper focus. And then there's other people that are like, let's just share the love to everyone. So it's like there's this in between, like that nice sweet spot in your business that you need to know what you're doing and clarity within like who you're working with, what you're doing, who you're serving, how you're serving them. That can also bring you confidence within your business. When you know what you're doing, that feels good. Like when you feel like you're just shouting out into a void because you're speaking to everyone or just like speaking to this hyper focused tiny amount of people and you're not getting anything back, like that's scary within your business. So finding that clarity within yourself and your business is super important if you're like a newbie. Making sure you know what you're like, you know who you're serving, you know why you're serving them, you know how you're serving them. And that can help you be more clear when you're putting yourself out there. That will help people find you. And then when you are putting yourself out there, you're excited about it, people are seeing you and they're excited about it, you're coming together and they're paying for you, you're like, they're paying you and you're excited about it. So it's all good.
Yes. Oh my gosh. This conversation has been so beautiful. Thank you so much for all of your brilliance, your expertise, all those nuggets of wisdom to share with all of us. So I love and appreciate you so much for sharing all that with us, Luddy.
Thank you for having me. I was super excited about this. I'm like, yay, I get to talk to all these people. It's fun. I've been an entrepreneur for a long time, so it's always fun to be able to kind of drop those little, like you said, little nuggets of wisdom once in a while in ways that aren't always so sarcastic as I always do them.